As we do every week, someone's won a free game. The top pinned comment has the name of someone. Hopefully you're in the EU region, you've won a copy of Baldo on the Nintendo Switch. GG, you left a wonderfully normal comment. Nice one. The algorithm salutes you. Hi guys, welcome back to SwitchUp. My name is Mark Walker, and I should apologise in advance because it's one of those weeks. There's at least 4 games on here that I've never spoken about before, and that's just a bad sign for all of our collective backlogs. I know we say it every time, but you might as well save yourself a bit of money using code SwitchUp over at switchup.gg to buy your eShop credit, and it supports the channel. And a thanks to Bedtime Digital for sponsoring this episode. Alright, what are the best games on sale this week, as well as one you should avoid right at the end there? Welp, cheers for joining me, it's much appreciated. Hope you've got yourself a nice beverage and a list of translations for all of the different fast food products I'm about to mention. Now, let's find out. First up, we've got one of the best Souls-likes on Switch, and it's Salt and Sanctuary. This one is developed and published by Scar Studios, and the action takes place from a side perspective. Now, I didn't actually realise that this one had 2-player co-op, but it's probably one of the best in this genre that we have on Switch, or any other platform for that matter. There are over 600 different weapons to find, as well as pieces of armour, spells, and various items for you to get your little mitts on. It's just a gigabyte, and it's £3.39, the same as a large bag of Haribo Star Mix down the local offie, which in fairness is a complete rip-off. How are you going to be charging that for a £1 bag of sweets? But yeah, it's only on the UK sale at the moment, I think. It very, very, very rarely goes on sale. I can't remember the last time it was this cheap. If you're in the UK or the EU regions, absolutely add this one to your I won't even say it. It's 75% off until March the 23rd. Thanks to Bedtime Digital Games for sponsoring this episode with their new release Figment 2. Now, if you ever played the first one, the sequel continues along that Alice in Wonderland style adventure where you're journeying through the mind and its different emotions. It has a beautiful art style with musical based showdowns against its inhabitants. This time round, nightmares are spreading chaos and enemies have overrun the once peaceful lands. You join Dusty, the mind's courage, as you make your way through puzzles, musical boss fights as Mark just said, and unique environments, facing your fears head on. Now, I reviewed the first of these games and I really enjoyed it. This time round there is a co-op mode, or companion mode as it's called. As the blurb mentions, you should never have to face your fears alone. You'll explore the mind's 2 fundamental states, open-minded and closed-minded, and you'll switch between these states and adapt to the shifting environment to be able to move forward through the game. This is out now on the Switch, and regional prices are on your screen as we speak, and there'll be links in the description if you are interested in picking this one up. Once again, a thank you to Bedtime Digital for sponsoring this episode. Cheers Glen, nice one. I don't think anyone can tell the difference between the two of our voices, but there you go. Then we've got Wargroove, which is down 70% to £4.79, and I can't stress enough, this is an absolute must buy. Very much an advanced wars style game, incredibly enjoyable, very easy to pick up and play, and obviously it's its cheapest ever price. You can download the Double Trouble extra content completely free of charge, and if you're not sure, it's developed and published by Chucklefish. It has offline multiplayer for 4 players, as well as online multiplayer as well. It's incredibly well polished. It really does remain to be seen how they can kind of improve upon this for that Advance Wars remake. You'll have the choice of 12 different characters. It has that strategic gameplay you'd be used to from the series I've mentioned. But what's very cool is you can actually create your own adventure and then share them online. Now, if you're looking for a co-op experience that's quite different, I'd suggest this one, but it can be played entirely on your own, and there's a shed load of content in it. You're looking at least 50 hours really, if you're going to do absolutely everything. A veritable barjan of the highest order. That's Wargroove, and it's on sale till March the 28th. I almost forgot about End of the Lillies, Quietest of the Nights, but it has its best ever sale. It's down 45% to the bargain bucket price of 12 quid. This is a brilliant action RPG / Souls-like, and it has a lovely combat system, loads of different skills that you can learn, and in my opinion, what is one of the best art styles you can go for if you're going to use 2D art. It's got a very large map, you'll end up traversing backwards and forwards. There's a bit of a Metroidvania feel in that regard, but it's also not too long. You know, like some of these are like stupidly long, aren't they? This one I finished in around about 14 hours, I think, which I know that kind of sounds long now that I'm saying it, but it's really not for this genre. It's just 1.9 gigabytes. nights. It's published by Binary Haze Interactive and developed by Livewire. That sale for End of the Lillies Quietest of the Nights goes on until March the 31st. There's also a huge sale on most of Square Enix's titles, so I'm going to mention a couple of those. First up, we've got Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers edition, which we reviewed on the channel. And yeah, look, it hasn't aged brilliantly, but the actual core game is still incredible and it tells an amazing story. It's 30% off at the moment, down to £11.19. They did do a bit of upgrading here. The character models have been improved. They've added in the quality of life things you'd expect. And if you're not sure about it, it actually features over 40 different party members that you can meet. As well as the improved character models, they actually boosted the audio fidelity as well as the musical score fidelity. But in my opinion, it's one of the best of its genre, regardless of the age. A bit like Final Fantasy VII. I just love it, and I always will. So if that appeals to you, then consider checking out Chrono Cross, the Radical Dreamers edition, which is on sale until March the 30th. Now, I want to mention Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, because in my opinion, it's always been a bit of an underrated gem, and to see it remade on the Switch in such a impressive way, really. They've obviously used the engine from the remake of Final Fantasy VII, and the fact that they brought it across and it works this well, it deserves appreciation, and I just think it's a great game. But the physical is seeing a lot of sales as well. Usually if you check Amazon or some other places, you'll get around about a 30% discount. It's not quite your typical Final Fantasy game, so the structure's quite different. You almost go out on missions, and it's very combat heavy, but regardless, it still has that same Final Fantasy feel, especially in terms of the narrative, the storytelling, and being able to see different sides to some of your favourite characters like Sephiroth. Brilliant one, bit more expensive, but still I think it's worth mentioning. I would say this is absolutely a hidden gem, and I'm gutted I didn't get to mention it when I first played it. It's Monster Train First Class. If you like games like Slay the Spire, well, I don't really need to make a list, do I? If you like games like Slay the Spire, which is an absolute GOAT within the genre, you will love this. It's obviously card-based combat, but the battles take place on several different levels. Some of the stages see you having to defeat enemies with a boss, like I think it's at the top or the bottom, and as the title suggests, it will be on board a train. It's been a while since I actually played it, but it's so good. I remember being completely hooked but slightly annoyed because we already booked out all of the days for reviews, and there was just no way we were going to fit it in. So it is nice to finally talk about it. There are over 280 different cards, as I say, 6 monster clans. I will say it is tough as nails, and there is a bit of that RNG factor, like you decide the route that you take. Sometimes the fight is just way harder than, you know, other times, but still there's a good bit of skill that's involved in the decisions you make, and it does include the Last Divinity DLC, which I haven't actually played yet. So all of that for £13.49. It's 50% off until March the 30th, and is published by Good Shepherd. So that's Monster Train First Class. Oh man, this list is just filled with games that I love. Then we've got A Space for the Unbound. Anyone that watches the channel, I did a video that was titled something like, I don't know, is this a hidden gem that we almost missed? Space for the Unbound. A big old waffly title, but the gist of it is, it's brilliant, and it just flew under the radar of everyone. Now, it's all set around 90s rural Indonesia, and it's actually an Indonesian development team, and they've nailed the flavour, man. Like, every part of it just has that feeling of otherness. It has a strangeness about it that almost makes you feel uncomfortable and comfortable at the same time. I can't articulate it very well, but one minute you'll be in the cinema trying to chat a girl up, and the next minute you're in a land filled with cats after she's warped you there. Minutes later you'll be drowning, and then there's a creature that's trying to destroy the world. Now, those are just examples. They may not be in the game, they may just be there to give you a flavour but not spoil. Either way, I would highly recommend adding this one. It's the cheapest it's ever been. It's 20% off, down to £14.39. Absolutely worth that price. It took me about 12 hours to finish it. It's both a cozy game and also not a cozy game. So yeah, I recommend this one. Alright, my pickup for the week, and a guilty pleasure. There's no two ways about it. It's a guilty pleasure in game form and in my real life, and it's power washing. The Power Wash Simulator. Who would have thought it would make a fun game, but it actually does. It's currently 20% off, down to £15.99. I remember seeing Switch Corner review this and thinking he'd gone absolutely bonkers. I was like, why the hell would you review a game about that? And then yeah, I picked it up this week on sale, and it's so good. It's so good. You know those like videos you watch on YouTube that are like, they're just really satisfying. Like it'll be someone smoothing something off or slicing the edge of something completely at 90 degrees, and it's like, ooh, yeah. Well, this is the game version of that. You literally going around cleaning stuff. It also includes the free Tomb Raider DLC as well as the Midgar special pack. I'm sure you can kind of guess what they're offering. But yeah, if you're after I don't know, like what would you even class this as? They say power wash and chill. I'm not sure those words have ever been used together, but I'm going to go with it. It's 4.4 gigabytes. There is online multiplayer as well for 2 to 6 players, which I didn't even realize. I've been missing out. I've got to hurry this video up and go and power wash stuff online. Man, it's published by Square Enix Europe and it's developed by Future Lab. And yes, it's the cheapest it's ever been. That's Power Wash Simulator, on sale until March the 30th. Make it happen. Now, if you missed our best cyberpunk adventures on Switch video, shameless plug, there's a link in the description. It was quite awesome, but not many people watched it because I seem to be the only one that absolutely loves cyberpunk. Well, one of the top games was Anno Mutationum. It is a brilliant hybrid. It has some excellent real-time combat. The world is just so engaging, and it does that thing where it forces you to kind of forget what you're doing and go off the beaten path, like you're offered to fight in this tournament in the middle of the street that's absolutely ridiculous with this butch woman in the middle overseeing everything, and you just completely forget what you were actually supposed to do, sucking you into its world. So yeah, Anno Mutationum is really good. It looks amazing as well. There's been several patches since it came out. Unfortunately for the US regions, this one is EU only. It's 30% off, down to £13.85, which is an absolute bargain for about 15 to 20 hours of just quality. Great soundtrack, lovely hybrid 2D 3D art style, and just a really engaging protagonist. Yeah, I like this one a lot. Anno Mutationum is on sale until March the 24th. Then we've got Ys 9 Monstrum Nox. Now, I absolutely love the Ys series. Ys 8 is probably my favourite, but I actually think that Ys 9 is a little bit underrated, and maybe underrated. Well, when it came out on Switch, look, the performance was terrible. Like, I must admit, I found it difficult to see past that because it really affected your gameplay. This one included mechanics where you could almost like grapple around, fly yourself to the tops of buildings and glide all over the place, and then you'd be shifted into this alternate dimension, that named Monstrum Nox, whatever, and fighting these hideous abominations. But it's a very, very good RPG. There is a ton of pointless costume DLC for this one that you can completely ignore, but it is its cheapest price. It's down to $26.99, which I know sounds a lot, but when you're looking at these kinds of RPGs, especially from, I don't know, AA, let's call it AA rather than AAA, at around 50 to 60 hours. They really are good games. Now, if you liked 8, I would strongly recommend playing 9. It has had a couple of patches since it came out, I will say that. It's definitely better than it was. I don't think it's going to be perfect on Switch, but the areas that matter, things like the combat instances, are absolutely fine. Now, that one's on sale until April the 2nd. It is published by NIS and it's developed by Nihon Falcom. I think I said that wrong, but there you go. That's Ys 9 Monstrum Nox. Alright, trigger warning. Then we've got our hidden gem of the week, and it doesn't look, you gotta just, disclaimer, this isn't what it looks like. We've got a game called Fogs, which was published by Coatsink and developed by Bitloom Games, and it is so much fun, but it looks so wrong. You play as a double-ended dog creature. You can play in single player, trying to get through the levels and control both heads of the long thing, but in co-op it's absolutely brilliant. It's just comedy gold. It does have online co-op as well. It has a beautifully colourful art style, but yeah, we played this so long ago. We went to an expo and it was there, and we just had such a laugh. And I completely forgot about it, honestly, until I've just seen it pop up on sale and been like, yeah, the world needs to know. So this is the moment, if you're after a co-op game or just a single player where you can just sit there and chuckle. It's kind of chill, but yeah, you might need to disclaim it if anyone walks in the room. That's Fogs, and it's on sale until April the 5th. A couple of honourable mentions then. In the US, you've got Black Future 88 for $1.99, which is 90% off. An instant purchase, it really is at that price. Really good game, excellent soundtrack, worth adding to the list. Resident Evil 4 doesn't need any introduction, but it is 60% off. It's just 8 quid, well, sorry, $8 physically at Walmart at the moment in the US. So if you're a physical collector and you want to add that one to your collection, $8, you can't go too far wrong. And Dying Light, the definitive edition in the US, is 60% off. A brilliant port, like such a good game. I'm sure most of us have probably played this one and probably finished it, but if for some reason you haven't, yeah, you need to be adding Dying Light to your Switch collection. Locked out 30 FPS, very smooth experience in handheld or in docked, and obviously online co-op as well if you want to join your mates and bust through. It comes with like an absolute wedge load of DLC as well. Yeah, really worth adding. I, perhaps controversially, think you should avoid cloud games on Switch. And it's more than one actually. It's any of the cloud-based games that we have on Switch. But I just absolutely hate the practice, to be honest, especially where it's games that could otherwise make their way across. It's interesting because I actually do cloud-based gaming, like I do it myself on my mobile, playing some PC games through streaming services and things like that. But where I can pay for those games very cheaply, it's different. And if there was like, I don't know, like a £10 a month and you got all the cloud games on Switch kind of subscription, or if it was included in the Nintendo Online, then it would be fair enough. But when it's like 60 quid for a cloud game, you're like, no, don't do it. So yeah, there's quite a few of them on sale at the moment. I'm not going to name names, but potentially consider not picking those up. And that is it for now. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the content. Let me know what you've been buying. Congratulations to the person in the top pinned comment. You have won yourself a copy of Baldo in the EU region, so hopefully you're from the EU, otherwise you won't be able to use it. Thanks to our Patreons and our members and all of you that just seem to enjoy the content. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers guys, see ya!